seem to like it. And I've had a few requests for another one. So here it is. I used the script the last time that I found on the internet. A lot of other people, whisperers, have used the same script. It's very good. But the website where the script was seems to have gotten a little peeved with whisperers using it, which I can understand on one level. But on the other, it's not like we're making any money out of it. So I'm not going to use scripts again. After the email I got from them, I'm sure a few whisperers out there who used scripts from the same site probably got similar emails. So what I've decided to do is just read some of the Wikipedia article on sleep itself. It's very long. I'm not going to get through all of it, but I would imagine that it's extremely boring, full of long technical, scientific, academic words, and hopefully it'll just be that boring enough to send you to sleep. So here goes. Sleep is a naturally recurring state characterized by reduced or lacking consciousness, relatively suspended sensory activity, and inactivity of nearly all voluntary muscles. It is distinguished from quiet wakefulness by a decreased ability to react to stimuli, but it is more easily reversible than hibernation or coma. Sleep is a heightened anabolic state, accentuating the growth and rejuvenation of the immune, nervous, skeletal, and muscular systems. It is observed in all mammals, all birds, and many reptiles, amphibians, and fish. The purposes and mechanisms of sleep are only partially clear and are the subject of intense research. Sleep is often thought to help conserve energy, but actually decreases metabolism only about 5 to 10%. The optimal amount of sleep is not a meaningful concept unless the timing of that sleep is seen in relation to an individual's circadian rhythms. A person's major sleep episode is relatively inefficient and inadequate when it occurs at the wrong time of day. One should sleep at least 6 hours before the lowest body temperature. The timing is correct when the following 2 circadian markers occur after the middle of the sleep episode and before awakening. Maximum concentration of the hormone melatonin and minimum core body temperature. sensory images and sounds during sleep in a sequence when the dreamer usually perceives more as an apparent participant than as an observer. Dreaming is simulated by the pons and mostly occurs during the REM phase of sleep. People have proposed many hypotheses about the functions of dreaming. Sigmund Freud postulated that dreams are the symbolic expression of frustrated desires that have been relegated to the unconscious mind, and he used dream interpretation in the form of psychoanalysis to uncover these desires. Freud's work concerns the psychological role of dreams, which clearly does not exclude any physiological role they may have. It is not ruled out, therefore, by the increased modern interest in the organization and consolidation of recent memory. Recent research claims that sleep has this overall role of consolidation and organization of synaptic connections formed during learning and experience. John Allen Hobson and Robert McCarley's activation synthesis theory proposes that dreams are caused by the random firing of neurons in the cerebral cortex during the REM period. According to this theory, the forebrain then creates a story in an attempt to reconcile and make sense of the nonsensical sensory information presented to it. Hence, the odd nature of many dreams. Research suggests that sleep patterns vary significantly across cultures. The most striking differences are between societies that have plentiful sources of artificial light and ones that do not. The primary difference appears to be that pre-light cultures have more broken up sleep patterns. For example, people might go to sleep far sooner after the sun sets, but then wake up several times throughout the night, punctuating their sleep with periods of wakefulness, perhaps lasting several hours. The boundaries between sleeping and waking are blurred in these societies. Some observers believe that nighttime sleep in these societies is most often split into two main periods. The first characterized primarily by deep sleep, and the second by REM sleep. Some societies display a fragmented sleep pattern in which people sleep at all times of the day and night for shorter periods. In many nomadic or hunter-gatherer societies, people will sleep on and off throughout the day or night, depending on what is happening. Plentiful artificial light has been available in the industrialized West since at least the mid-19th century, and sleep patterns have changed significantly everywhere that lighting has been introduced. In general, people sleep in a more concentrated burst through the night, going to sleep much later, although this is not always true. In some societies, people generally sleep with at least one other person, or with animals. In other cultures, people rarely sleep with anyone but a most intimate side.